Hey Dan, Chris Flaw here, Berkshire Hathaway with the Roy Miller team. And first off, apologize. I did not make it out to your house. I went to the wrong address. That is 100% my fault. I have no way to make up for it. I have no way to make up for your lost time. If you feel frustrated, irritated, unimportant, please forgive me. I never meant to make you feel any of those ways. However, I did tell you that I would do a market analysis. I would get an idea of what your house was worth based on what's happening in the national market, state market, local market, and then what's happening directly in your neighborhood, and then, of course, the condition of the house. So I did drive by your house. I did take a look at it. Looks like you had some company over. Maybe it was a wife or daughter. It was in the yard. So I didn't walk around. I just drove around slowly. Hopefully I didn't creep them out. But first, let's start with my screen share. Let me share it real quick so we can be looking at the exact same thing. Share this here. Yeah, share. So let's start with make sure we have the right address. So this is your place. I took a look at it. You said you added another room. You did a little bit of updating, and then I believe you said you added some finished square feet in the basement. So I'll be interesting to see those. So these numbers are going to be based more in generalities, not in specifics, which I can get specifics if you still want them. I'd be honored to do it. So here's your house. Looks like you bought it for $214,000 in 2017. So the idea, you said, you want to move, get a little bit more space. So here's what's happening nationally. So again, the way that I like to work things, and it seems to make the most sense, is we understand what's happening nationally, we understand what's happening on a state level, we understand what's happening in Portage schools, and then what's happening in your neighborhood. And we can get a pretty good idea of what's going on. So in Michigan, overall, we're doing well. We're talking less than 30 days of being on the market. That's phenomenal historically. Year-over-year price ranges, the forecast, we're only looking at 0.8%. So not as good as we've seen in the past. This number has been in the past 3, 4, 5, 6, 7%. At the beginning of the upswing, it was in double digits. So, COVID-19 has had an impact on appreciation, at least in the fourth and fifth quarter. There's no fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter of this year. But where COVID-19 has really made a significant impact on home prices isn't necessarily in buyer demand. So it didn't decrease buyer demand like people were anticipating. It has really flatlined. The buyer demand has almost stayed the same. And we can track this because we can tell how many houses sell last year in comparison to this year. We're on target to sell virtually the same, maybe a little bit more houses last year to this year. But what has changed dramatically is the amount of listings that are currently on the market. There's just not as many. When we first started COVID-19, we're at 700. Now we're floating around about 650. We've been hovering at 650 for the past 3 or 4 weeks. That's like all of the greater Kalamazoo area, which encompasses Portage. So what does this mean? Well, in 2000, when I first started 10 years ago, 2009, we're talking 1,500, 2,000 listings were on the market. So it's a significantly different environment as we were then. So also want to just talk real quick about buyers for a second. Mortgage rates are the lowest it has ever been, perhaps in human history. So refinancing, I had some friends of mine refinancing, and they bought their house just last year sometime, and they saved about $400 a month on their mortgage just in interest. So I got some more KCM reports. Let's see if these are the same ones. Yep, they are. Okay, so let's talk Portage real quick, get you an idea now that we kind of looked at what's happening in Michigan and then what's happening in nationally. Let's talk about Portage. So I want to first start at the bottom and say Portage schools, talking $235,000. I don't know if you can see this, but shit, I just closed the screen. Hold on. All right, we're coming back. All right, bunch of stuff. Okay, here we go. Portage schools. I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna try not to close the screen this time. We're looking at $235,000. So the average is good. It's consistently come up, hasn't taken that big of a hit that is recordable yet. I don't think it's going to take any hit at all. And then we take a look at South Portage, which is specifically where you are. You're in the South Portage area, and we're looking at 230. So again, we've had, $30,000 in appreciation over the past 4 years. So we're looking good. You're in a strong area. It's robust. When we look at South Portage, so this is called the absorption rate, what this little graph here. And what makes, to me, this graph so important is the fact that it gives us a rough idea, given all the houses in an area, a specific area, in this case, South Portage, and you take the amount of inventory you have on the market, you take the rate of sales, and you get a rough idea how long it's going to take a home to sell. So if we took a house between 200 and 300,000, we're looking at about 0.4 months. So we're talking about half a month, 15 days on average of being on the market. That's what we should be anticipating. Now that's gonna be for later. I want to switch sides here. Again, your home. This is what it looks like, and then here is your neighborhood. This is all of the houses right now active in Portage schools. We're talking between $200,000 and $300,000. We're talking 25 houses, so not a lot. But if we take a look at what's sold, we're looking at 315. So it's a significant number. And so basically what this means is, historically, between this price range, we get 315 homes that sell. I'm trying to do the math here. Okay, so 315. So you divide that by 12, we're talking 26 homes. So what we're really looking at in comparison to the amount of actives, in comparison to the amount of solds, in Portage schools, all houses, all areas, with between 300 and 200,000, realistically, every house should be sold within a month, granted that demand stays the same. Current pendings, we are looking at 41. So it takes about 2 months to 1.5 months to close on a house if you're using standard financing, at the minimum a month. So with that being said, this is a pretty good projection that we're selling about 20 houses per month, maybe 25, which is right where we were last year. And so now I want to take a little deep dive here into your neighborhood. Now, there are no other active houses really in your neighborhood that, in my opinion, are comparable, because all of these houses here are brand new, and it doesn't make a lot of sense taking your house and its age and its uniqueness and the fact that it's on a corner lot and the updates that you've done. We don't want to compare that to a standard Allen Edwin home that is a cookie cutter project just like everyone else's, and to be honest with you, it's an economy home. It's really what it is. It's just designed to be able to put up quickly. They're factory style homes. There's nothing wrong with them, but at the end of the day, they appeal to a certain audience, and I'm not anticipating the same person that's going to love your house is going to also love these Allen Edwin houses. But I do want to just get an idea. Let me go back. I want to get an idea of what has sold recently. Again, we don't really have anything on your street. Maybe a few of these would be older. So this one is, and sold for $275. I don't know what that one is. Copperleaf Trail, probably not. So yeah, it's just, and it's, well, what's pending? Let's see if anything went pending here soon. Pending was brand new. 327. Let's see. Elegant, yeah, not comparable. 189. So we don't, that's not really what those houses, in my opinion, aren't good comparisons. But I don't really love comparing houses together because I think houses are as unique as the people that live within them, but they are competitors because as you can see here, there are about 25 buyers per month that end up selling or end up purchasing a home. Imported schools for, got distracted. Imported schools, about 25 buyers that purchase a house, imported schools every month. So really the only question is how do we become one of those 25 houses that end up selling? So I look at competitors. So this list here is every single competitive house that's currently on the market. And I'm looking for gaps because gaps are a good place for us to start, in my opinion, our marketing process. So in other words, where we might want to be setting the price if we can justify, I believe we can justify, we're looking 70 and 79. There's a gap there of 10 grand, and 69 and 59, and 59 and 60. Those are we're going to probably want to insert ourselves into one of those gaps. I mean, we can go higher if you want. I'm not going to stop you. It's your money, but this is realistically probably where we're going to end up landing, based on what I can tell of the house and the upgrades and the finishes that you told me that you've done. So more or less, I'm thinking somewhere within this range is where we want to be. I'm looking at your absorption rate, and realistically, your house should sell in about a month to a half of a month. And that is really about it. So anyway, I do have more numbers that I could run. There'd be some more. I'd do some very specific things, price per square foot, all finished levels. After I would take a look at the house and get an idea of your measurements. I'd also take a look at the SEVs in comparison to other, so state equalized value in comparison to other state equalized value, figure out if there's a ratio difference there, which, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of law of averages. I just find a bunch of numbers, average them together, and we can justify your price. So anyway, I appreciate it. That pretty much ends the video. So again, if this is helpful at all, that is awesome. And let me know what you think, or I'll reach back out to you, and then if we can go from there. So hey, I appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon.